Dear friends, good morning and a great week. We're on Sunday morning. We're getting started a new week. Yes, we're a new week, still in this pandemic. We hope, as always, that things start taking a turn for the better during this week related to people's health and the general pandemic here and everywhere else. But meanwhile, most importantly, we have to keep our spirits up and positive, uplift ourselves and others around us, because we will see the end of this soon, God willing, and we have to not only survive, but as we have been talking about, growing through this experience. So I want to take our inspiration today and several days during this week related to the Torah portion. We're going to be reading about the life of Abraham, the first Jew. Now, the Jewish people didn't become a nation and get the title Jews until we left Egypt, hundreds and hundreds of years after Abraham was born. But yet Abraham was the founder of the Jewish people. And there's so many special things about Abraham and why he stood out and above everyone else, that he became the first patriarch and the founder of a new nation, a new people, the people who were rewarded with the receiving of the Torah, God's most personal treasure, God's wisdom and blueprint of the world. And we find some very fascinating things about Abraham. And today I want to talk about his conviction. Abraham lived at the time in a world where everyone was worshiping idols. There was a battle between who is the real idol, who is the real God. Abraham's family was embroiled in this battle, taking the side of one very well-known one, Nimrod. But Abraham at a very young age realized that all this is not real. How can a God made out of stone, metal, that you have to safekeep and lock up in your safety deposit boxes and in your safes, be something that will protect you and bless you? And ultimately he figured out that there's a God above in heaven who is the master of all, the creator of all, the master of all. And he started to worship that God until God revealed himself to him and started to tell him a little bit about himself, so he understood what he is worshiping and what's the purpose of this world. But what we find is something very fascinating. Abraham definitely was not the first one, or not the only one in his generation, that knew that there is one God, realized it. We find that in every generation there were at least several people, even during the difficult, corrupt times of idol worship and everything that came along with it, there were people who believed in God. But something set Abraham apart. And that is, once he realized that there is a God, and he had a strong conviction about God's existence, he wasn't shy to talk about it. He invited people to debate, to discuss. He threw in the idea even to the places that they were so anti anything other than their idol, or idols in general. And he started to preach it. He stood up in public squares. He preached it. He talked about it. Abraham was a very hospitable person. Many people came through his home, and he was always talking about God. You got to believe in God. It's real, and just pay attention and think a little deeper. Now, it's not easy to believe in one thing while everyone believes in another way. And most people feel very intimidated. Most people are very shy. They'll rather be quiet, because they don't want to stand out. They don't want to be different. They don't want to be looked at differently. But Abraham taught us, when you believe in something, then don't be shy about it. Be proud. Talk about it. Let people know what you stand for. Be clear. Share it. Abraham did not ram it down anyone's throat. He didn't do it in disgusting, non-conventional, unacceptable ways. He was just true to himself in public as much as in private. He didn't hide anything. And so it is for us. We have to have conviction. You know, we have a lot of opinions about different things going on. We may not always be right, but we can't hide. We can't cower. We have to stand tall. We have to share what we're thinking. And if what we know is validated, especially we who have a Torah, who have the knowledge, and we know what's true and not true, then for sure we cannot cower, and we have to be like Abraham and stand with tall, with conviction and proud. Because ultimately Abraham had a tremendous effect. The world in his time already started to change. People questioned idol worship. People started to accept there is something greater. They didn't become as committed as Abraham to God, but they accepted there is something greater. So stand with conviction. Never hide your identity. Never hide what you're feeling. Never hide what you believe, because it's not going to do you good or good for anyone else around you. So God bless you. Stand tall and proud.